Hi guys, Kurt Provost here, your guide to all things NuSkin, and as your guide to all things NuSkin, I've taken it upon myself to consume as many of the scientific presentations as possible, read a bunch of stuff, and summarize this cheat sheet, I guess you can call it, of retinol without the reaction. It's a new product in the Tru Face line, and like all the other products within the Tru Face line, they have rather long and descriptive names that we often have to create nicknames for, and I think this one will be no different. It is called the full name, Ageloc Tru Face Peptide Retinol Complex, at least here in Australia, and it may be named something slightly different in your market. So what exactly is a retinoid? It's vitamin A in a nutshell, and it's been recognized as being beneficial for humans and being useful since the early 1900s, and it's been used by dermatologists since the 1960s at least. So it's been around for a good deal of time. It has stood the test of time. However, it does come with a list of potential downsides to it because it is a very strong ingredient. There are different types of retinoids. The first type is retinoic acid. That is very strong, prescription only usually. So that's one that you usually can't get access to, and if you do, it's only going to be a unique small portion of society that will actually be able to use it without the negative effects that come with it, of all that dry, flaky skin, irritated hypersensitivity, redness. So the second type is a retinaldehyde, and that's also known as retinal, with an AL on the end, not the more commonly known OL. I'll get to that in just a moment. So retinal is one step down from the retinoic acid, and so it's a little bit weaker. It doesn't have as many side effects, but still quite strong and still elicits usually a lot of those side effects. So that's one that you can usually get over the counter. But the one that is most commonly used and found within skincare that you will normally have access to is retinol. That's what most of us know and associate. That's the most famous retinoid of them all. That's most common. It can also be stored in the skin. Unlike the first two that I mentioned, they are used up immediately or metabolized and excreted from your body. The fourth one is a retinol ester or retinol esters. There's different types of them. They're not as effective. They are much gentler though. They're generally not eliciting any of those negative side effects that I mentioned before. So they're the four main types of retinoids that are available in the market. Which one does this new Tru Face product contain? Well, it contains two of them actually, and is the two gentler forms, and that's a really important distinction there. Is they're using the slightly weaker ones, the ones that more skin types are accepting of. So it is retinol, and then there is a retinoic ester, which is actually a HPR. So it's a very long name. I'm going to shorten that to HPR. In an active form, that's important. So it is active. However, this one is stable in the presence of sunlight. Most other retinoids that's not the case. You've got to avoid that. So the retinol that they're using is actually used with a stabilizer. So it's contained within a polymer, which has a slow release function. So although it's a beneficial ingredient, it still can elicit some of those side effects. But if you slow down the release of it, you find that the side effects are much less likely. So this makes it way less reactionary, but still really beneficial for the skin. What sort of benefits will it have? Well, it's smoothing roughness, reducing wrinkles, evening the skin tone, and helping with hyperpigmentation, among other things. So this is something that's really, really good for the skin, but this product gets even better. It's got two types, but what makes this really unique is that it also has peptides that are specifically chosen to enhance the results of those retinoids. And this is something that makes it unique to anything else on the market, because these peptides are beneficial ingredients in their own right. So what is a peptide? Well, it's made up of a combination of amino acids, and amino acids are the building blocks for proteins. Any combination of those over two amino acids will become a peptide. So there are literally millions of different combinations, and they serve different purposes. And that's a wonderful thing. We're still exploring the depth of just how beneficial peptides can be because it is so vast. But this is what gets super interesting here, because there is a peptide within this product, and it was discovered with the help of AI. So AI has sped up the process. Instead of years to go through the millions of different types of peptides, finding the one that is perfect for what the scientists want this product to be doing, and that is supporting the retinoids to get the best possible result, but also making sure that it minimizes the potential side effects. So it's soothing and healing and hydrating the skin at the same time. So with that criteria, they feed that information into AI, and then it feeds through or sifts through the millions of different types of peptides out there, and it shrinks the time from years down to months. And as a result of that, they found the absolute perfect peptide. It is a oligopeptide 1, and that is the AI peptide. There is a whole line of it here. It is the first clinically tested nature-identical anti-aging peptide discovered by AI that targets key signs of aging while boosting retinol benefits. That is quite a mouthful, so I recommend you write it down next time you want to repeat that one. So that peptide in its own right helps with fine lines, it helps with texture, it helps minimize the pores, it helps with pigmentation, and it's very fast acting. So that's fantastic in its own right. But where it gets super interesting is it boosts retinol's effect by over 400%. That is amazing, and that's what makes this product super unique, because you've got the weaker forms of retinoids so that they're not having those negative side effects, or less likely to have the negative side effects, because there's still probably people out there with hypersensitive skin that this may not be for. You'll have to spot test for it if you fall into that category. But for a larger portion of society now, they will have access to retinoids without that heightened risk of negative side effects, and yet they'll still have fantastic benefits from those much gentler types of retinoids, comparable to those of the stronger kind. Really cool technology right here. And then they're also using an ingredient called 4-TB. It was a super long ingredient, so I'm not going to attempt to say it, but 4-TB is great for calming and soothing the skin, as combined with the ultra gentle jojoba. So these things are helping to restore the skin barrier, reduce redness, and just hydrate and make sure the skin is remaining calm. So they have really brought together a complete package here, and they are, more importantly, building one on top of the other. So it's not just that it's containing retinol, because it's building on top of that with multiple layers of features that are symbiotic, and they're enhancing each other's benefits and suppressing the negative. So you are getting all of the good with none of the bad, the original catch cry of NuSkin. So most people, there's a lot of products out there that have retinol in it, so you'll want to compare, all right, what's the percentage of retinol in this product? Well, it's largely irrelevant in regards to this TrueFace product, because it's not just the quantity of retinol, it's how it's relating to the other ingredients in the product. So the quantity of retinol in the product is at a clinically effective dose. That's the important 3 words to remember there: clinically effective dose. That means it is the exact amount that is needed, no more, no less, to get an effective result. And so there's a clinically effective dose of the retinol. There's a clinically effective dose of the retinoic ester. There's a clinically effective dose of the AI peptide. There's a clinically effective dose of the Ageloc complex that is a proprietary blend. Now, in regards to that complex, is the same complex that is used within the galvanic facial spa gels that you can see behind me there, and that is believed to be one of the top tier anti-aging combinations of ingredients that you could be infusing into your skin. So it's so exciting to have that Ageloc combination within this peptide and retinol serum. So what sort of results did it get? It got amazing results, and I'll pop them up on the screen for you to run through because there is a long list of results right there. But what's most interesting is there's a combination of both instant results. I mean, there was a 20% increase in firmness from one application. That blows my mind. Just from one application, 20% increase in firmness of the skin. Imagine over time. And so with the 8-week clinical trials, the results were getting better and better. What is fantastic is 100% of the participants within the clinical trials didn't experience any discomfort with it, didn't experience any downside. Now, that doesn't mean that, there's not going to be someone out there in the world who may get some sort of discomfort from the retinol ingredients, but every single action possible has been taken to ensure that that is the lowest possibility ever. And that is fantastic because the two top criteria that you should have when you are trying to decide whether or not a skincare product is right for you is, number one, is it effective? Is it going to be beneficial for my skin? And looking at the clinicals of this, yes, yeah, highly likely. And number two, is it safe to use? And that is a big tick with this product. With retinol, it's usually been a tick in the first one. Is it effective? Will it do something? Yeah, most likely. That's why dermatologists tend to like retinoids, is because they are effective and they have proven themselves to be effective over a long period of time. But the second one is a little bit of a question mark because it's a hit and a miss. Some people it works great with, no downside. Other people, not the case. Well, with this one, I think we're minimizing that as much as humanly possible. And just one more point in regards to science, because if you're watching this for the first time, you may not be aware of just how large of a figure NuSkin is within the scientific world, and that's because they've got over 75 full-time scientists, many of whom are PhDs in their respective fields, and their sole purpose is to come to work every day and try and figure out how to make us look and feel better. And they do a fantastic job at that, and this product is a shining example of it. But they perhaps are so good at that because of their ability to network, because of the great respect that they have within the scientific community and the collaboration that they do with organizations like Stanford University. So this was revealed thanks to Jerry, a fantastic leader in Singapore. So shout out to Jerry and his research skills. Thank you for sharing this one. So back in 2019, NuSkin actually collaborated with the Stanford School of Medicine Department of Dermatology, and they came out with a study that they spoke at the Milan Dermatology Conference in 2019, and it was also published in the peer-reviewed Journal of American Academy of Dermatology in 2019 as well. I mean, not just anyone gets to collaborate with universities of this caliber, but thanks to NuSkin and the quality of science that we have, those worlds opened up to us, and as a result we get to have access to products that are at a higher quality to most of the things that you find on the market today. If you want to get your hands on this, I have access to a few right now, and then it's not going to be fully launched here in the Australian market until just before Christmas. So limited supply, that is for sure, so you better act quick. My name is Kurt Provost. I am your guide to all things NuSkin, and if you're watching this going, oh my god, that product is amazing, this company sounds amazing, I would love to partner with a multi-billion-dollar company. How do I go about doing that? How do I go about becoming a supplier rather than just a consumer of these products? Glad you asked, because I am actively expanding my business around the world and I'm looking for great people like yourself, and I can hold your hand and take you through the entire process and the best way to get started if you don't have someone to do that with you already. So my contact details are at the end, or you can find me on Facebook or Instagram at Kurt Provost, and my email is kurtnuskin@gmail.com. Chat to you guys soon. Ciao.